AITA for telling my husband the nanny is in charge? I want to preface this by saying that I am aware this is a very privileged issue, but I'm trying to get some perspective on my opinion. My husband and I have 3 kids that are 10 months, 3 years and 6 years old. My husband has a high-profile job and it means he's gone often. I work a regular 9 to 5. We originally used daycare for our oldest, but my middle was born right when the pandemic began, so we hired a nanny. She originally worked when I did. But by the time baby came around, I was very overwhelmed doing bath and bedtime on my own, on top of developing postpartum depression. After a breakdown, we spoke with the nanny and she agreed to adjust her hours so she's helping me with dinner, bath and bed. We've gotten close over the past 6 months doing this. In many ways, she's become like a third parent to the kids. She's so good with them. We've created a routine that works well. I tend to the baby during bath and bed, she handles the older 2. It's a nice rhythm and my mental health has gotten so much better. My husband isn't traveling all the time, but most nights, he isn't even home for dinner and bed. He will help me weekends he's home. But because he's gone so often, he's reluctant to be firm with the kids. There are times he's come home when our nanny is there. He tries to help her with bath and bed, but all owls the boys to roughhouse, lets them break the routine and it seriously throws them off and delays bedtime. My nanny shared with me she feels awkward. Obviously she doesn't want to undermine her employer, but it just makes her job harder. But my husband also doesn't want her to go home when he arrives, as he says he can't handle it alone. I told him if that's the case, then he needs to defer to the nanny and follow her lead. She knows our boys best and she has to deal with it. Aftermath when they don't listen and give her a hard time. My husband feels that she's just an employee and is the dad. His salary does pay for her. However, I don't feel this is fair to her. I told him he either follows her lead for bed and bath or he doesn't help at all. He told me I'm allowing the nanny to take over and replace him. AITA? AITA for telling my ILs I will not be changing the name of my bakery just because they work there? The bakery was originally my parents' bakery, my mom's more specifically. Dad worked there but mom ran the whole thing and she was the driving force behind it. The bakery was named something with Sun in it. When my parents had me 4 years later they named me Sunny. My mom had a very complicated pregnancy and delivery and I was going to be the only child. So they named me after the bakery. I always loved the connection and it was especially meaningful because my mom died when I was 7. Dad kept it running with help, so I could take it over one day if I wanted to, so mom's legacy never died. He got sick when I was 16. It was tough. He fought as long as he could, but he died when I was 18 and I took over the bakery. I baked from a really young age and dreamed of running it one day. So I took over as the head baker and have kept it open myself for a decade now. In that time I met and married my wife Lila. She started working there and her mom and sister also joined the small team we have. It was going well until a few months ago. We were at Lila's parents' house. Her whole family was there, and they brought up how the name for the bakery feels wrong when the family has changed so much. Lila told them the bakery is still mine and given history and who named it, they shouldn't think they would get a say in any of it. It was dropped for a while. Then they brought it up again. Lilligan reminded them that it was none of their business. Lila is expecting our first child now and she hasn't been working as much, or at all these last couple of months, and I have noticed some comments here and there from Mill, especially about darling bakery names, or how nice businesses' names are when they tell you it's a family-run thing. I would internally roll my eyes but smile and say those were great names for those people's businesses. Clearly she got annoyed because then her and my SIL cornered me recently and told me that they felt like they had such a big part in it, which they didn't, that the name should reflect the family and not just me or what my mom had wanted to call it. I told them I will not be changing the name just because they work there, and if that is a problem there is no reason for them to force themselves to stay if they don't want to. Both told me they don't want to work there and told me I was twisting what they said, that they just want to feel more included and like this is their family business too. Mill told me that unless we plan on naming our child some Sun-related name, it's just going to be a random name in the future. I pointed out many businesses are that. But they told me I was being deliberately obtuse. AITA? AITA for not making my daughter apologize for traumatizing her cousin? We went to my parents' place for lunch during the bank holiday weekend. My sister's daughter, Ella, 9, has unfortunately been fighting a rare form of cancer for the past 2 years. She's lost her hair and wears a wig, and is never seen without it. Since her cancer diagnosis, Ella has unfortunately become quite nasty. I understand she's scared and probably very angry about how her life has turned out, but she absolutely terrorizes her cousins, particularly my 7-year-old, Haley. We should have put a stop to this a long time ago, but it's hard to tell off a sick child and not look like the bad guy. The kids were playing outside when we heard someone crying. Ella had dared Haley to lick a muddy puddle and gotten the rest of the kids to demand she did it. They were all egging her on, and Ella had my sister's phone and was filming it. When the adults came outside, I took Haley and made clear she didn't have to do anything, and that this game stopped immediately. Ella still had the phone and was filming us, and said, maybe we'll make her do it later. Haley was crying her eyes out. She let go of me, ran up to Ella, pulled her wig off and threw it into the puddle. Ella started screaming and ran to her parents. She was hyperventilating and screaming for her parents to stop everyone looking at her. They took Ella into a room to calm her down, but my parents went mad at Haley, saying taking Ellie's wig off was a disgusting thing to do. They said, Haley has no idea what Ella has to face every day. My dad has also survived cancer, so this ice got personal to him. Ella's parents came out and said their daughter doesn't want anyone to see her. They said Ella is traumatized by everyone seeing her without hair. My sister called Haley a horrible child, and that only an evil person would think about taking a little girl with cancer's wig. I defended Haley and said that Ella and the others were clearly bullying and tormenting her, but my sister said it's not her or her daughter's problem if Haley can't handle girly teasing. My parents and my sister, Bill, agreed that they want a written apology from Haley to Ella, one which shows that she understands what a cruel thing she did. I said that was not going to happen. We left with Haley, but I'm still seething. I'm truly sorry that Ella is having to go through cancer. But she was tormenting my daughter, ganging up on her and filming the whole thing. Haley obviously shouldn't have taken the wig, but she was very upset and being bullied. AITA for paying for my daughter's wedding but not my son's? To make a long story short, my son was a teen dad. His girlfriend at the time got pregnant right after they graduated high school, and I practically raised their baby girl up until they both graduated college and got jobs. During this time, I had my full focus on my grandchild, which caused me to very stupidly not pay enough attention to my daughter. We've made up since, and I've been making up for lost time with her. The issue is I'm paying for her wedding, but I never paid anything for my son's. I felt like I'd already done and spent more than enough for their family that there was no reason for me to. I got them a good gift and a chunk of change and deemed it enough. He's been causing issues with me and his sister about this and has been slandering us on Facebook, saying it's unfair how I'm paying for her wedding but not his. I understand feeling a bit bitter, but I've spent way more money keeping his family and him afloat than I have on my daughter's wedding. Honestly, paying for her wedding doesn't even seem enough for what I did. I don't know how to feel right now. Andy would greatly appreciate it if anyone could give me feedback on this. AITA for refusing to give up my Neopets account to my niece? Throwaway account. Okay, so I'm upset and confused, and I told sister Billy would post here to settle this argument, so they will be seeing and reading this. For those who don't know, Neopets is a virtual pet game site that was really popular around the late 90s, early 2000s. It kind of died a bit for a while but has recently started to get popular again. I have been playing for years. My account is 18 years old and it has the stats to reflect that. Pets, avatars, stamps, gallery, trophies, etc. If you don't play, it may not mean a lot, and not to brag, booty have a rather impressive account due to the fact I have been playing so long. I 34F have no kids, not child-free, just don't have any. My sister 32F and Bill 34M have a daughter 11F, who has been very sickly all her life. I'll not go into exactly what is wrong with her, but she's been in and out of hospitals a lot in her young life and recently had to go back in again for a few weeks. Sad face. I recently learned that she's been playing on neopets.com for a few months to help pass the time when she's not feeling well. She's really gotten into it, and from what my sister says, talks about a talent. She was excited to learn I also play, and we talked about it when I visited her. I looked up her account and gifted her a bunch of stuff, expensive stuff that would be hard for a newer account to get. In-game stuff using in-game money, which can be kind of hard to earn in large amounts. Anyway, long story short, she asked how I can afford the stuff I sent her. It was worth millions of NP, and how I have all the stuff my account has. I explained I had been playing for 18 years, died every plot, event, etc. Well, Apparently she got upset at the huge difference between our two accounts and asked for more stuff. When I told her no, she started crying to my sister and Bill about it. My Bill came over and asked if I could gift my account to niece for her upcoming birthday, which she has to spend in the hospital. Said it would mean the world to her. I said no. I've had this account since before she was born, before we even met my Bill. I don't want to get rid of it. I still play on it literally every day. Well, he got mad and tried guilt-tripping me. I'm an adult and she's a child and it would make her happy. In a rough time in her life. I'm happy to help her learn the tricks and trades of the game, but I'm not giving away my account. He tried to buy it off me, but I still said no. Now he is super pissed and got my sister and parents on their side. I'm being hounded every day for this and being called asshole because it's all my niece will talk about and she really wants it. I feel bad because she's just a little girl in the hospital and guilty for not giving it. I offered to send a bunch of stuff to her account again, but she wants my statue so she's not treated like such a newbie who doesn't know anything by other players too. I feel guilty for this, but I want to keep my account. AITA and #X200B. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like this, much less make the front page. Thank you everyone for your responses, and for the reward, coins OMG. I promise I'm reading all of them and I'm making sure my family has the links so they can read them too. Hopefully we can have a civil conversation about it after reading all this. I have a nice NC background, I know my niece will. Love, I plan on sending her for her birthday. I'm glad if anything this post reminded everyone to their dying pets lol.